Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the PTN ICE Daily Show. I'm Alan. For those who don't know me, I am the COO of ICE. So today, let's talk a little bit about work ethic and time management. First, I just want to give a shout out to all the people who were at the kinetic core dry needling class this past weekend in Chicago. Phenomenal class. Here at ICE, we try to get outside of our own bubble every now and again and take some outside courses each year. So great experience, wonderful to meet all the instructors and also all the people, the course students who were there, who both knew of ICE and also were just there to improve their practice. It was amazing to me how many students were there who have been practicing less than 2 years, who are already expert clinicians just a few years or even a few months out of school. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of you this weekend in Colorado, heading out to Windsor for Mitch's Fitness Athlete Live management course in Windsor, right in Jeff's backyard. So that'll be a fun time this weekend, especially with the Super Bowl. So let's talk about work ethic and time management. So the title of this episode is a ruse. You've been duped. I apologize if you feel violated. You see these a lot: top 19, top 31, top 17 hacks, shortcuts, 48 ways to motivate yourself to get out of bed in the morning, all these different kind of BuzzFeed articles and videos and that sort of thing. And I'll just cut right to the chase and say that I think those are all BS. There are no shortcuts. I think the biggest shortcut you can find with working on your work ethic and improving your time management skills is to find your alarm clock. I think the biggest problem I see with people who have poor time management and work ethic in general are not that they are inherently lazy, but they seem to think that they need to wait for some sort of motivation, some sort of divine inspiration to help get them out of bed, get going earlier, push harder. And really, it's not motivation at all. It's discipline. It's doing the same thing repetitively. It's setting your alarm clock and getting out of bed and getting things done. And we'll talk a little bit about getting up early, whether or not you agree with me. I'm obviously very biased. So when you ask great leaders and great business owners, what the pillars of their company were, especially when they were founding it, it's that it was rooted in late nights and early mornings and kind of burning the candle at both ends. And I think that's universal, and it's a step that can't be shortcut through some new app or gimmick or hack. I think that's a pillar of starting your own business, starting your side hustle, finding more time to volunteer or get whatever task it is you want to get done on top of your normal tasks. It's kind of burning the candle at both ends for a short period of time to get it done. And so some of you may or may not know that I usually sleep about 12 to 4, so I get about 4 hours of sleep, and I realize that's not for everybody. And I say that not because I think that you also need to get up at 4 a.m. every day, but I say that to say that if you sleep in until the last possible second every day, if you're the PT that burns into the parking lot on 2 wheels each morning with spilled coffee on your shirt and 10 seconds before your first patient, if that's your normal, then you should get used to losing, because that's not disciplined practice. And as far as learning to get up earlier, if that's how you think you can make more time, it's discipline and it's repetition. Set your alarm every 1 minute for 30 minutes. And even if you snooze it half the time, you'll still be up 15 minutes earlier than you would have been if you had just hit snooze until you jumped out of bed at the last minute. And I know there's a lot of research out there that says getting less than 8 hours of sleep is equivalent to being drunk as far as decision making goes, but I've been drunk and I never get 8 hours of sleep, and they're not the same at all. It's simply not the case that you need to get 8 hours of sleep every night to be fully functional. You can burn the candle at both ends a little bit, especially if you need to get stuff done. And again, I'm not saying you need to sleep a very small amount of time. You need to be smart and listen to your body and find out what number you can get away with, and then practice that discipline of getting up at that time, no matter how many alarms you need to set. Because when we look at time management and kind of improving the amount of work productivity you have, we need to realize that we're all buying and selling in the same currency, whether we think we are or not, and that's time. And something I've learned is that we don't find the time to do stuff. We have to make time. If you are looking for time, finding time, you'll often realize that you never find it. You just keep looking for it, and it never, the extra stuff you want to get done never gets done. We have to make that time because you care about the task that you're trying to accomplish. And part of that is going to bed a little bit later, waking up a little bit earlier, but it's also avoiding what I call time sucks throughout the day. These little moments where we lose 5 to 10 minutes that seem like nothing in the moment, but when you count them up throughout the day, throughout the week, the month, the year, they lead to hours, days, weeks of lost time. Those moments where you get in your car after you're done in the clinic and you check Facebook, and all of a sudden you look up at the clock in your car and you've been on your phone for 10 or 15 minutes. Those little moments where you have that time sucked away from you that really add up over time. We have to avoid things like those just as much as we have to make extra time in the day with our schedule. And something I'm going to rant on, which again, my personal bias, some of you may or may not agree, but the average American still watches 5 hours of television a night, which blows my mind. That number really hasn't changed at all since television was invented 70-ish years ago. So I often find people who just can't find the time to have a meeting maybe at 8 p.m. or something, but those people also tend to be the people who are watching a lot of television. So if that's you, just like with waking up earlier, consider cutting back on that to make that extra time in your day, because everyone's looking for that one thing, that pill, that hack, that app that eliminates the need to do work, when really they just need to make more time in their day and stop doing less of the stuff that kind of sucks it away. And when we look at that's kind of on all that to be said on an individual level. When we look on an organizational level, we have to fall back on our extreme ownership principles, discipline, and scheduling. Scheduling, you may think you don't want to be the person that lives your life on a schedule, but it's an efficient way to get things done. What doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. Go old school if you need to. Write in a notebook. So this is my schedule book, just a little Moleskine book. Little boxes, write down the events you need to do. Write down the simple stuff that you don't think would normally need to be written down. I think that's really helpful when you look back at your day and see all the stuff that you got accomplished. In my book every day I have wake up, get to the gym by 4:30, exercise for 2 hours, come back, do hygiene and have breakfast, and then today was PT on ice at 7:30. So I've already accomplished 4 tasks that I wanted to accomplish today. So I think that's really helpful when you look back at your day and say, wow, I really got a lot of stuff done. I think that can spur you to continue to kind of live that disciplined lifestyle. There's a lot of research out there that shows that writing down a to-do list before you go to bed each night, there's one paper that I'll post in the comments that showed that even just 5 minutes of doing that, of writing down the tasks you want to accomplish the next day, had a lot of positive, both physical, as far as sleep quality is concerned, benefits, as well as mental benefits, compared to traditional journaling where you kind of just write down your thoughts from the day and maybe thoughts of the future, compared to writing down a structured to-do list of tasks you want to accomplish the next day. So even just 5 minutes of that before you go to bed can be very beneficial. And before I talk on an organizational level, I'll just say one more thing, which is that our work ethic and our time management skills aren't defeated in one large battle. We don't just suddenly decide that we're never going to hit the gym again, or we're never going to do meal prep for lunch again. Those concepts and those failings kind of happen in a series of 1,000 tiny battles where it doesn't get done day after day after day, and it kind of chips away at what we want to get done. So the thing with work ethic and time management on an organizational level, even if you're just in your clinic, running your clinic, or if you are trying to be a business owner, start your own business, the main thing to realize is that, first of all, there are no weekends. I meet a lot of people who are awesome Monday to Friday. They have a disciplined schedule, and the weekend comes and it kind of just falls off the wagon. You still need to set your alarm clock and get up. That will make Monday morning a lot less rough. And you need to maintain that discipline throughout the weekend. And as far as if you are thinking that you have a lazy team or people who have low work ethic or poor time management skills, recognize, again, using our extreme ownership principles, that there are no bad teams, no bad teams or groups of clinicians, just bad leaders. You have to work with people to find out if you're trying to push the gas on them a little bit more, find out first of all, what they're actually interested in, and find out if they'd be willing to push the gas for maybe an extra hour a day in a different way. So maybe they don't want to stay an hour late and do chart reviews. That sounds terrible to most people. But maybe they will stay an hour late and work on your social media. So maybe they'll write a blog post or make a video of an exercise for knee pain for your Instagram and your Facebook page. Maybe they will spend the time on that. So work with your team and find out what they're willing to make time for, instead of having them try and find time for just random extra tasks to get done during the day. And then I'll just say, kind of not related at all to work ethic or time management, that remember that we are tribal creatures, and that leading more than 6 to 10 people can be difficult, especially when you're trying to directly manage the time management and the scheduling flow of a group of people. And that it's always easier to take people as they are than try to make them into what you think they should be. And that people aren't inherently lazy, just like when we talk about in the literature with clinical practice that all those tests for malingering aren't very relevant, because deep down people don't want to just lay around and not go to work. That's not how the human brain functions. Just like that, the people under us on our teams don't naturally want to be lazy and not get stuff done. We just need to talk to them and figure out what kind of problems they're encountering and barriers, and how we can find things that they would enjoy spending their time on that would make their time more efficient, and maybe even put in a little extra time at the end of the day. So I hope that helps. So remember, there are no shortcuts. It's about discipline, not motivation. It's about making it a task, just like when we ask our patients to do a home exercise program religiously. It's the discipline to do it once or twice a day, every day, and not just whenever the motivation strikes us. Recognize that getting up early and staying up late is kind of business as usual if you're trying to get a business off the ground, if you're trying to start a side hustle, write a business plan, that sort of thing. And that we don't find time in the day, we make time in the day. We have a set schedule, and when people ask us to do stuff, we look at that schedule, and if we make the time, if we can bump something, and by having that schedule in front of us, we know kind of on a triage basis what we can get away with and what we can't. So that lets us fit more stuff and make more time into our day. And then again, recognize that we don't have bad teams, just bad leaders. So dig into your team and find out what they'd rather spend their time on, to try and get a little bit more out of them each day. So I hope that helps. Some courses coming up. Persistent Pain Management with Justin starts February 19th. Awesome course. I audited the first course last fall. Amazing 8-week course to get up to speed on pain science, and lots of stuff to implement into your clinical practice right away as far as pain science intervention goes. And then the weekend of February 24th to 25th, we're really busy. Justin again will be teaching, but he'll be teaching total spine thrust manipulation in Portland, Oregon. Jeff will be teaching lumbar spine management in Winchester, Kentucky, which is just outside of Lexington. I'll be going to that one, so I'll see some of you there. And then Mitch will be in I'm going to say Simons, maybe it's Simmons Island, Georgia, that same weekend teaching fitness athlete management live. So hope to see you in person soon. Hope that helped today. Leave comments here. I'm sure I'll get some flack about telling people to get up at 4 a.m., but that's okay. So have a wonderful day. See some of you in Colorado later this weekend.